Let's begin with the eighth part, the final part of federalism. We have already noted in the previous parts that the federal government has two or more tiers of government. We have so far discussed the two tiers of government in our country. But a vast country like India cannot be run only through these two tiers of government. States in India are as large as independent countries of Europe. In terms of population, Uttar Pradesh is bigger than Russia. Maharashtra is about as big as Germany. Many of the states are internally very diverse. There is thus a need for power sharing within these states. Federal power sharing in India needs another tier of government below that of the state government. This is the rationale for decentralization of power. Thus, it resulted in the third tier of government called local government. So, as states are as big as a country in Europe, so we require decentralization of power. Let's take an example. In Maharashtra, number of villages are 43,722, huge number of villages, right? And how many gram panchayats? 28,813 gram panchayats. It's not possible for the state government to take care of that many villages in an appropriate manner. So it is in the best interest of the state too that power should be decentralized, and hence a third tier of government, that is local government, should be formed. When power is taken away from the central and state government and is given to the local government, it is called decentralization. The basic idea behind decentralization is that there are large number of problems and issues which are best settled at the local level. People have better knowledge of problems in their localities. They also have better ideas on where to spend money and how to manage things more efficiently. Besides, at the local level, it is possible for the people to directly participate in decision making process. This helps to inculcate a habit of democratic participation. Local government is the best way to realize one important principle of democracy, namely local self government. So, what are the points that we should understand about decentralization? That the basic idea behind decentralization is that when there are large number of problems, as the region is very huge, vast, there will be large number of problems as the number of villages are more. For example, Maharashtra. Okay, so it can be best settled at the local level. So how it can be settled best at the local level? Because people who are living in that particular locality have better knowledge of the problem. Correct. They also have better idea on where to spend money and how to manage things more efficiently. Besides, at the local level, it is possible for the people to directly participate in decision making and quickly take decision instead of waiting for the chief minister of the state to come over there, analyze the situation, and then provide them funds. Correct? So, this habit helps and inculcates a democratic participation on the basis of people. But people start democratically participating in decision making at the local level too. So, local government is the best way to realize one important principle, and that important principle of democracy is self government. Self government is self governance of that region. You yourself are governing the region at the local level. Okay. As the need for decentralization was recognized in our constitution, since then there have been several attempts to decentralize power to the level of villages and towns. Panchayats in villages and municipalities in urban areas were set up in all the states. But these were directly under the control of state government. Election to these local governments were not held regularly. Local governments did not have any power or resources of their own. Thus, there was very little decentralization in effective terms. So, initially, when decentralization took place and it was recognized by the constitution, so it just happened the way it happened from central government to the state government, right? So, more powers were utilized by the central government, and state government were not able to utilize their power appropriately, right? So over here also in the initial stages it happened the same way, that panchayats in villages were not functioning in an appropriate manner. Elections were not getting conducted regularly. These local governments did not have the power or the resources of their own. So such a type of decentralization did not work in effective terms. A major step toward decentralization was taken in 1992. Constitution was amended to make the third tier of democracy more powerful and effective. So, in 1992, the 73rd Amendment made a three-tier structure with panchayat at village level, block level, and district level. What were the functions of the Panchayati Raj Ministry? Even today, what is the function of the Panchayati Raj Ministry? Monitoring of the implementation of 73rd Amendment. Then funding research studies, workshops and seminars for development of the panchayat, making secure economic development and providing social justice in the respective areas. So, when in 1992 the 73rd Amendment mandated the third tier structure with the panchayat, so then it became constitutionally mandatory to hold regular election to local government bodies. Before that, there was no regular elections, correct? Seats are reserved in the election bodies and the executive heads of these institutions for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other backward classes. So, there are seats which are reserved in the elected bodies for executive heads and for various places in the institutions, and these seats are reserved for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other backward classes. At least one third of all positions are reserved for women. So gender equality is also brought about over here. An independent institution called the State Election Commission has been created in each state to conduct panchayat and municipal elections. So there is an independent election body. It is called as the State Election Commission, and it is created in each state in order to conduct election at panchayat and municipal level. The state governments are required to share some power and revenue with the local government bodies. The nature of sharing varies from state to state. So as the center has to share power with the state government, similarly state government has to share some power and also finance, that is revenue, with the local government bodies. And this sharing differs from state to state. Rural local government is popularly known by the name Panchayati Raj. Each village or a group of villages in some states has Gram Panchayat. This is council consisting of several ward members, often called Panch, and a president or a Sarpanch. The Panchayat Samiti is an intermediate body which coordinates the activities for all village panchayats in each block. It has different names in different states. In UP, it is called Kshetra Samiti. In MP, it is called Janapada Panchayat. In Gujarat, it is called Taluka Panchayat. In Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Bihar, and Odisha, it is known as Panchayat Samiti. This council is directly elected by all the adult population living in that ward or a village. It is the decision making body for the entire village. The panchayat works under the overall supervision of the Gram Sabha. All the voters in the village are its members. It has to meet at least twice or thrice in a year to approve the annual budget of the Gram Panchayat and to revive the performance of the Gram Panchayat. This local government structure of the Panchayati Raj system goes right up to the district level. A few Gram Panchayats are grouped together to form what is called a Panchayat Samiti, a block, or a mandal. Members of these representative bodies are elected by all the Panchayat members in that area. All the Panchayat Samitis or mandals in a district together constitute the Zilla Parishad. Most members of the Zilla Parishad are elected members of the Lok Sabha and MLAs of that district, and some other officials of other district level bodies are also its members. Zilla Parishad chairperson is the political head of Zilla Parishad. So there are various civic facilities and welfare functions which the Jilla Parishad has to carry. It has to maintain and construct roads and bridges in these areas, provide relief fund during emergencies when there is drought, when there is flood, okay, and to promote welfare schemes for the weaker section of the society, build library, hospitals, dispensaries, educational institutions, develop land, water and human resources of the area. These are the facilities which the Zilla Parishad has to carry out. All right. It has also to coordinate and supervise various functions. Right, supervise the work of the panchayat samitis, then promote e-governance in order to monitor the functioning of the panchayat samiti, examine the budget of the panchayat samiti. So these are the supervisory work and coordination work which the Zilla Parishad does. It also has to advise state government regarding needs of the people in the rural areas. It receives funds from the union or state government which it distributes among the panchayat samitis. So this is the work done by the Zilla Parishad. So then what is the function of the Panchayat Samiti? Rural health program, okay, rural water supply, then social welfare program, that is improve the status of women, children, welfare of SC, ST, then setting up of Anganwadis, support agriculture, animal husbandry and fisheries, rural employment, how to increase rural employment, development of cottage, handloom, handicraft and village industries. This is the work which is done by the Panchayat Samiti. It also does the work of construction of road, bridges and higher education, that is secondary level education system should be over here. Hospitals, drinking water should be provided. So Panchayat Samiti in a way relates or tells the Zilla Parishad that these are the things which it require in its village, and then when the funding is given by the Zilla Parishad, work is carried on in this village. It supervises the work of the Gram Panchayat. Alright, it exercises control over the functioning of the block development officer and his assistants. It examines the budget of the Gram Panchayat. Okay, so when the amount is given by the Zilla Parishad to the Panchayat Samiti gives it to the Gram Panchayat and it supervises whether the funding is utilized appropriately or not. Local government bodies exist for urban areas too. Municipalities are set up in towns. Big cities are constituted into municipal corporation. Both municipalities and municipal corporations are controlled by elected bodies consisting of people's representatives. Municipal chairperson is the political head of the municipality. In a municipal corporation, such an officer is called as the mayor. So, as the local government bodies exist at the rural level, they also exist at the urban level. So, municipalities are there in towns. When you go to big cities, metropolitan cities, it is the municipal corporation. Both municipalities and municipal corporations are controlled by the elected bodies consisting of people's representatives. And so, municipal chairperson is a political head. As the Zilla Parishad head is a political head, alright. So, the chairperson is a political head. So, over here, municipal chairperson is also a political head of the municipality. In a municipal corporation, such an officer is called as a mayor. Now, what is the difference between a municipal corporation and a municipal council? So, if you have, that is, a municipal corporation or Mahanagar Palika is there to govern cities with a population of more than 10 lakhs. Municipal council or Nagar Palika is there to govern the population between 25,000 to 10 lakhs, and city council or Nagar Panchayats are there for towns with population between 11,000 to 25,000. So now, as the population in Pune is more than 10 lakhs, that's the reason we have a municipal corporation. This new system of local government is the largest experiment in democracy conducted anywhere in the world. There are nearly about 36 lakh elected representatives in the panchayats and municipalities all over the country. This number is bigger than the population of many countries in the world. Constitutional status for local government has helped to deepen the democracy in our country. It has also increased women representation and voice in our democracy. At the same time, there are many difficulties too. While elections are held regularly and enthusiastically, Gram Sabhas are not held regularly. That is, the meetings are not held regularly. Most state governments have not transferred significant power to the local governments, nor have they given adequate resources. We are thus still a long way away from realizing the idea of self government. So, even though in the constitution we have decentralized the power, we have written down in the constitution that power should be handed over to the local level, but practically, when we talk about it, it is not at all happening. Though elections are taking place, women representation is seen, but the Gram Sabhas are not held regularly and they are not functioning appropriately at the local level. Most of the state governments have still not transferred significant power to the local governing bodies, and that's the reason they do not have adequate resources. So this realization of idea of self government is still a long way away. We still have to practically implement the decentralization idea of self government. So these were the few drawbacks of decentralization or about the third tier of the government. Let's take one example which is there in our textbook. It is about an experiment in Brazil. It's a city called Porto Alegre in Brazil, which has carried out an extraordinary experiment in combining decentralization with participative democracy. That is, local people, citizens participate in the decision making process. The city has set up a parallel organization operating alongside the municipal council. So there are elected representatives too in the municipal council. Along with them, there is a parallel organization of common people, of localites who are working along with them. What are they working for? They are enabling local inhabitants to take the real decisions for their city. So, as they are working along with the municipal council, everything is transparent. Alright. So, whatever decision municipal council will be taken up with the help of the local inhabitants. So, it will be in favor of the region of this particular city. So, power is decentralized till the local level, and it helps to make a decision making, it helps to take decisions in a perfect way. Nearly 13 lakh people in this city get to participate in making the budget of their own city. So the population is also not very small. There are 13 lakh people who participate in making the budget of their own city. City is divided into many sectors or what we call wards. Each sector has a meeting like that of the Gram Sabha in which anyone living in that area can participate. So there is no only specific group of people that will come and meet. So anyone living in that area can participate. There are some meetings to discuss issues that affect the entire city. Any citizen of the city can participate in those meetings. Budget of the city is discussed in these meetings. Proposals are put up to the municipality that take a final decision about it. About 20,000 people participate in this decision making exercise every year. This method has ensured that money cannot be spent only for the benefit of the colonies where rich people live. Buses now run to the poor colonies, and builders cannot evict slum dwellers without resettling them. In our own country, a similar experiment has taken place in some areas in Kerala. Ordinary people have participated in making a plan for the development of their locality. Here we come to the end of the chapter. We saw how decentralization has merits and demerits. We also took up the example of Brasilia, where local people are actually participating in the self governance. So please read the chapter and Go through all the images in the chapter. Try and write down points by observing these images, as these images do appear in the exam, in the final exam.